These two bitter old rivals, Florida, Georgia, tied as we begin the start of the third quarter at 3. A sellout crowd gathered at Alltel Stadium in downtown Jacksonville, Florida, on the banks of the St. Johns River. 3-3. A Matt Leach field goal, a Billy Bennett field goal. Both place kickers also missed one each. Bennett will kick off for Georgia to start the third quarter. Kelvin Kite and Andre Caldwell are the two deep backs. Bennett goes far corner, and Caldwell gathers it at the 5-yard line, then comes left. And is out to the 26-yard line, where he will put it in play as Chris Leak comes back on now for the Florida Gators. A game dominated by defense.
Yeah, two great defensive efforts in the first half. Florida with the ball right now. Now coming into the game, number 2 in the SEC, gaining over 400 yards a game. They found out why this Georgia defense ranked number 1 in the country. Only 99 yards of offense for Florida in that first half. A lot more execution needed to happen here for Florida and Chris Leak to start the second half.
And on first down and 10 from the 26, Leak out of the spread. Quick flip, fakes it, hands it off to Rand Carthen, who comes left. Nice job by the Gerald Anderson staying home that way that time. And let's break it down statistically at the half.
You can see only 99 yards rushing for Florida, or for Georgia, only 21 for Florida. That's a big key. When you make a team one-dimensional, you can really affect the quarterback pretty effectively. Florida, for their part, 4 sacks of David Green by their defense in that first half. But Georgia's ability to stop the run key in that first half.
Leak, screen pass, left side. Picked up by Carthen. Got a little room to rumble. And he's out to the 39-yard line. And a first down. Well, Tyson Browning went out with an injury late first half. Let's get more from Jill Arrington.
Vern, if you can believe it, more bad news for Georgia. Tyson Browning will not continue in this game. His left knee is hurt. He has a huge brace that is immobilizing that leg on his left leg. He is probably out for the game. No helmet in hand, and that's as much as I can get from him, but it is a left knee. Doesn't look like he'll return.
All right, thank you, Jill. On first down, the draw play. Left side, it's Carthen. And Carthen hit by Odell Thurman up high, and down low, it's Sean Jones, number 6, who's going to lead, favoring his left shoulder.
Yeah, looks like he might have a little stinger of some sort in his shoulder, but he got up right away, favoring that left shoulder, and just made a straight sprint to the sideline. They're already down one defensive back, Corey Bryant, with the injury last week, replaced by Tim Jennings, and now Greg Blue, who was hurt early in the year, is in place of Sean Jones, number 17.
Sean Jones on the bench. Second down, 7. Leak fakes the draw, under pressure, avoids it, goes deep. He's got Kelvin Kite, but also Thomas Davis.
And Thomas Davis looked like a safety back there. He didn't look like a corner making a play for that ball. And it's amazing that Chris Leak even got this throw off, because Bruce Thornton came on a corner blitz and had a clean shot to the quarterback. Watch Bruce Thornton. He's going to come and just miss Chris Leak as Leak goes back. And then Thomas Davis will come over in coverage. Nobody picks up Thornton, but he misses the tackle, and Thomas Davis is left in coverage and knocks the ball down.
That's the end of the play, and as if they needed it, another player injured for the Georgia Bulldogs. This is Leak at the end of the play. Gerald Anderson is the injured player. Already 4 defenders lost for the season. Anderson down right now. Gerald Anderson having been assisted to the sidelines on back-to-back plays now. The Bulldogs lose Sean Jones and Anderson. They lost Tyson Browning in the first half. Here's Jones, who left with an apparent stinger on the play prior to the one in which Gerald Anderson was injured. It just doesn't seem that it can get any worse. Third down.
Pretty soon you're going to run out of players.
3rd and 7. Leak 5 yards back. Georgia brings 3-man rush. They drop 8. Leak with time underneath drops. Rand Carthen in and out of his hands.
And Florida now 1 for 8 on 3rd down. And that time they confused the young quarterback. They came up and showed blitz. They dropped 8. They only rushed 3, and Chris Leak really didn't have anywhere open to go with the football.
Eric Wilbur, 4th punt. He's punted poorly the last 2 times. Damian Gary awaits it. And here's Wilbur. This one's high. Nice spiral. Taken. Roll mocked. Right through Gary's hands. Florida football.
Reynaldo Hill is the guy who comes up with the football for Florida. Damian Gary, one of the most accomplished punt returners in SEC history. You don't expect him to not control the football, but this went right through it. And Damian Gary had a little room on this return, but just never able to catch the football. And Reynaldo Hill, the first guy down for the Gators, makes the quick recovery. The second turnover of the game for the Georgia Bulldogs.
And the Eric Wilbur reaction. There was an interception, and now a discussion
there's a
with
flag back at the 50-yard line.
Oh my goodness. I saw David Paul
during the kick. Personal foul. Face mask against Florida.
Oh boy.
That'll be 15 yards from the previous spot. Repeat 4th down.
Oh, repeat 4th down.
And I saw Pollock cartwheeling as he ran off the field. Never did see the flag.
What a break for the Georgia Bulldogs and Damian Gary.
I think Ron Zook is asking who did it. Face mask. Take a look on the right side, about the 40-yard line. Right there. Oh, man. Wow.
I didn't see it. Another booming punt by Wilbur, though.
Gary controls this one at the 16, and again, he's got room. He's got a lot of room. There's another flag down.
This one's going to go against Georgia for an illegal block in the back. So 2 crucial penalties, but that one not nearly as costly as the one that went on Florida the play before. This is going to be on Bruce Thornton for an illegal block in the back. So Georgia will start deep in their own territory.
57-yard punt by Wilbur, and this will negate a 23-yard return.
During the return, illegal block in the back by the receiving team. Half the distance to the goal from the spot of the foul. It'll be 1st and 10.
Yeah, Bruce Thornton is saying, me? David Pollock, this is his reaction to the previous penalty.
this program.
Wrangler, Fidelity Investments, and by Earthling.
Well, the Saturn Lightship is hovering high above Jacksonville areas today for over the Alltel Stadium. The Saturn Lightship team hopes that you're enjoying this unique look from high above. Worst starting field position for Georgia today. They got it at their own 9.
And Jill mentioned Tyson Browning probably not back. That means Michael Cooper and Craig Lumpkin at the running back position for the Bulldogs.
Play fake. They fire it out. David Green does. And forward progress is going to put Fred Gibson down at the 19-yard line. Well, the critical play in that exchange was a face mask penalty on this muffed.
Now watch here. We don't have the point of the infraction, but we do see Thomas Davis spinning around without his headgear. Now that can only suggest something was amiss on that play. And that's where they called the face mask penalty that negated the turnover by Damian Gary and made Florida punt the football again.
There's the stretch on the far side after the Gibson catch, and he is just shy of a first down.
Well, Fred Gibson had the first down by about 3 yards, and he gave too much ground there, trying to make a bigger play than he had, and gave up the first down.
That much.
You mentioned the 2 running backs that Georgia is going to finish this game with now. Michael Cooper's a redshirt freshman. Craig Lumpkin is a true freshman. They both are excellent runners with the ball in their hands. Where you worry about younger running backs is in pass protection and who to pick up and picking up the right guy and then blocking him with the right technique. David Green already sacked 4 times in the ball game today.
Jeremy Thomas still in as a fullback. He's the lead blocker here. Cooper breaks through into the secondary of Florida and picks up a first down.
Now, this is what I think Georgia needs to stick with. They ran for 99 yards in that first half, running up on the inside against this Florida defense. And, you know, these 2 guards for Georgia, Josh Brock and Bartley Miller, both have chronic shoulder problems, and both of them didn't play last week against UAB. And they're playing pretty well today. Whether their shoulders are hurting or not, they're playing pretty well in the run game.
Cooper, they stick it on the ground again. He comes over the right guard and picks up enough yardage to move to the 26-yard line. Gus Scott. Might have heard the public address announcer mention his name. Rushing yards, Florida held to 27 thus far.
When you don't have balance as an offensive football team, I don't care what team you are, and you're one-dimensional, boy, it really gives the advantage to the defense. And Georgia has better balance in their offense today than Florida does.
Cooper is out, Lumpkin is in, and Lumpkin gets the handoff, and he rips it up the middle. That'll be close for the first down. Appears the spot is going to be a yard short. See your favorite stars brought together for the greatest live TV reunion of all time. Don't miss the surprises and unforgettable moments in this once-in-a-lifetime special, CBS at 75, live Sunday after 60 minutes. 3rd and 1 live from Alltel Stadium in Jacksonville. They give it to the fullback, and he plunges over left guard and appears to have enough to move the chains.
Yeah, I think what Georgia feels right now is that they've got an advantage on the inside. There are 2 guards, Brock and Miller, their center, Russ Tanner, and their fullback, Jeremy Thomas, blocking on the inside. Mo Mitchell is a converted offensive lineman playing in there at the defensive defensive tackle spot, and they're running right at him. And now what that does, when you can run inside out of the eye like that, what that sets up is your play action pass. Very soon, be ready to watch them fake it inside and try to throw the football deep down the field.
Well, you saw 14 attempts in the middle. Here's the play fake. They look deep for Gibson, and Gibson a mix-up on the route, and Ratliff picks it off.
Unbelievable. They're calling it no good, but what an effort by Kewan Ratliff. The officials in good position to make that call, but what an effort by Kewan Ratliff.
Tell you, the line judge is being very definitive.
Yes, he is.
Very authoritative in selling that call.
And he threw his hat down right away. The line judge, Michael Taylor, on this crew. And he's running right down the sideline watching the play. It was a poorly thrown ball by David Green. See, he stepped out. That's why he threw his hat, because Kewan Ratliff stepped out of bounds before the interception. He had his feet down when he caught the ball, but he had stepped out of bounds prior to that. And that's why the play was knocked off. Right there, he's out of bounds. And then he made the interception.
Here's the handoff. Lumpkin going left, spins out to the 40-yard line on second down. That'll leave 3rd and 6.
Just to go back and clarify that again. When there's a turnover, the referee throws a beanbag. When a guy steps out of bounds, like he did right here, the referee throws his hat. And that says, hey, the play's off because he stepped out of bounds. It was a great interception by Ratliff.
But it was a fine bit of officiating.
Sure was.
By the line judge. 3rd down. They need 7.
I'm not sure I'd throw at Kewan Ratliff. If I'm going somewhere, I'm going at Johnny Lamar here, not Ratliff.
Green comes out of the flat. There's Lumpkin short. Flag is down as well. If the play stands, 4th down coming up. Option with Florida.
Looks like Charlie Strong is going to decline the penalty and bring up a punt formation. Nice play on 3rd down there.
On the offense, penalty is declined. 4th down.
You know, you think the defense might lose a little steam not getting that interception call, but they came right back on 3rd down and made a nice play.
Well, in a game this close, however, Georgia did a nice job of moving the ball from their own 9.
That's right.
Out to the 40. So a game of attrition, field position. Kewan Ratliff now waiting at the 15-yard line for Gordon Ely Kelso's punt. 4th and 7.
They didn't get it off. They took too much time. They were adjusting their punt protection. They were moving and shifting some guys to counter what Florida was showing them on their punt rush.
Ball.
They didn't get it off.
On the offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
You mentioned field position, and special teams is what plays in. And see, the Florida switching, and they're switching the protections, and meanwhile that play clock goes down. And the personal protector's job is to make sure they get that punt off before the play clock runs down.
Kelso doesn't punt for the long average. His net punt average is very good. Around 36 per punt.
Boy, they're taking a long time.
Yes, they are. That's not good at all. That's off the side of his foot. It does take a Georgia bounce, and Ratliff picks it up. Comes back to the 35-yard line.
I just think they took so long a time to kick that Eli Kelser's just standing back there waiting and waiting and waiting, and it's hard to have any rhythm to get the snap and kick the football.
38-yard punt, 7 on the return. Florida has the ball when we come back.
Tired of through the years in this rivalry, in 1981, a 95-yard Bulldog drive late in the fourth quarter, highlighted by a Herschel Walker touchdown as Georgia fought back to win it 26-21. And in '84, Florida shut out the Bulldogs 27-0 and ended a 6-year losing streak. In 1985, Georgia upset #1 ranked Florida behind Bulldog running backs who ran for 365 yards and 3 touchdowns in Georgia's 24-3 win.
Thank you, Jill. Of course, those were under the leadership of Vince Dooley, who is here today. This will be his last Georgia-Florida game as the athletic director. His contract not renewed by the president of the school, Dr. Michael Adams, and Dooley will retire next June at the age of 71. Not his choice. Seatric Faison, 1 yard. His third carry of the game, tackled by Odell Thurman.
You know, I am amazed at what this Georgia defense has been able to do all season as they continue to lose key players. I mean, Gerald Anderson now is out. He's being replaced in there by Ray Gant, who injured himself last week. They thought he had a serious leg injury. Sean Jones is still out of the game. Greg Blue in for him at the safety position.
And it's a 2nd down and 10. Florida with the ball. Here's Leak. He's throwing all the way. Dance is right. Being chased by Darius Swain. Pulls up, fires it. Man is open. Caught by Faison. How about that?
This is one of the things I think that makes Chris Leak extra special. When he scrambles, he does not scramble to run. He scrambles to make a play down the field throwing the football. Most young quarterbacks, when they get flushed out of the pocket, watch when Leak gets flushed out by David Pollack. Most young quarterbacks tuck it and run right here, but his eyes never leave down the field looking to make a play throwing the football. That is the mark of a mature young man. He doesn't get rattled. He keeps his poise, makes a throw.
Here's Rand Carthen coming left, jolted by Gant and Davis and driven down. Let's get an injury report and go down to Jill Arrington.
Well, Todd, you were talking about it. Georgia's been riddled with injuries. Today is no different. Rover Sean Jones, he has a burner in his left shoulder. They put ice on it. They added some special padding around his neck. He's very frustrated. The trainers are not letting him back in the game yet, but he might get back in. But unfortunately, Gerald Anderson is out of the game. It's the right knee. He has ice on it, and he's very emotional about not being able to play.
All right, Jill, thank you. 2nd down, 3-3 ball game. Flip right side. Carlos Perez gets a block from Kelvin Kite. Speeds down the sideline. Touchdown, Florida. Senior from Hoboken, New Jersey, born and raised in the Dominican Republic until he came to the States with his family. Carlos Perez, extra point, up and good. Nice job of holding the ball by Sean Morton.
2 new defensive backs in for Georgia because of the injury to Corey Bryant. Tim Jennings right here, Kenny Bailey. Watch both of them get blocked on the outside on this screen pass. DeCorey Bryant was a more Tim Jennings weighed about 25 more pounds. Kenny Bailey, not a real big guy out there either. Excellent execution by the Gators. And the first touchdown in the game belongs to Florida.
Tuesday on CBS, the Navy team is called out to investigate a string of overdoses on an aircraft carrier. And what they find out will shock you. Mark Harmon stars in an all-new Navy NCIS Tuesday at 8 o'clock, 7 Central on CBS. 10-3, the 7-minute mark, third quarter. 1 year ago, Georgia came into this game undefeated, ranked 5th in the country. Florida knocked them off 20-13. Today, they come in once beaten, ranked 4th in the country. Florida leads 10-3. Short kick. Ryan McClendon.
Is that Petrovich again?
Yes,
This guy is fun to watch now. I mean, he flies down there after his own kickoff and makes a solid tackle. Gets a head slap from Charlie Strong. It was a short kick, but it was a high kick, and that enabled the coverage to get down there, and that is a heck of a tackle by Petrovich.
Now, I'm thinking of you. You have a certain disdain, fair to say,
Yeah,
for the guys who kick the football?
that only kick.
Oh, okay. He tackles as well.
He played some football in his day,
Yes, he does.
not just soccer.
High school. Here's the first down pass complete out to the 22. Damian Gary. Let's take another look at this touchdown on the screen pass.
Yeah, well, I mentioned Jennings and Bailey. Now I want you to watch Greg Blue. And what happens when this play gets outside, watch Greg Blue take a bad angle to the football. He reads it. Nobody's there to block him, but he took a shallow angle, and then he couldn't catch up to the speed of Perez on the outside. Again, Greg Blue in for the injured Sean Jones. Got beat on that play because of his angle.
Second down and 2. Hand off Cooper on the sweep to the left, stiff arm. And he's got a first down as he works to the 31-yard line, gets out of bounds. Michael Cooper. And Daryl Dixon is a little slow getting up.
So is Josh Brock. He's slow getting up as well.
Keywan Ratliff.
Don't start celebrating yet. You know, that's what happened 2 weeks ago in Arkansas. They started a little premature celebration in Fayetteville and then had to hold on for their dear lives at the end of that game. A lot of football time left in this one, and as long as David Green is in the hunt, I don't count out Georgia. Now, he's got to find a way to get Fred Gibson and Reggie Brown involved in the game.
Here's a handoff. They test the middle again. And it's Michael Cooper. We go back to New York for a Pontiac High Performance Update. Once again, here's Tim Brando. Yeah, they're hanging on.
They're trying. That's a heck of a defense Ohio State brought in there today.
Second down and 7. And the sweep goes to Cooper. He's around the right side. That appears to be a yard short at the 39-yard line. Well, Colgate, a winner again today. Brought a big smile to our spotter, Joe Castanis' face. The feisty Nightbirds struggling, so Matthew Stein not thrilled. Of course, this leads me to inform all of you that the mighty Bulldogs of Texas Lutheran University won last week over Louisiana College. Probably not as widely noted as it should have been. I want to correct that. It was their first win of the year.
What's their nickname?
Bulldogs.
The Bulldogs.
Yeah, we don't have an UGA though. We got an ugly. Here's Lumpkin for the first down.
He fought for it.
Yes, indeed.
He showed some strength reaching for that first down. I think he got it. But it was because of the second effort of Craig Lumpkin after the contact. 200-pound freshman out of Lithonia, Georgia, Stevenson High School. And the Georgia running game, I mean, they're having a lot of success running the football.
137 yards on the ground thus far. First and 10. 10-3 ball game. So much riding on this one. I guarantee you Tennessee paying attention to what's going on here. SEC East. Here's Green. Across the middle, behind the intended receiver, Reggie Brown.
And David's got to make that throw. Now, he got protection. He checked off. He got a good block from Craig Lumpkin on the linebacker. He had a nice pocket to throw from. He just didn't make a good throw. Reggie Brown, I don't think he's touched the ball today, has he? He hasn't made a catch. And Fred Gibson hasn't really made any big catches. They've got some big play guys that they've got to get involved in the action here.
Green, 9 of 17 for 69 yards. Sacked 4 times, but 3 of those sacks occurred in the first quarter. Second and 10, blitz.
Nice block, Josh Brock.
Lumpkin, 3 around the left side. First down, Georgia. He picked up 14.
I'll tell you what, for a guy with a bad shoulder, Josh Brock is playing a heck of a football game. Watch the guard, number 60, lead out on this play. Watch number 60 get the block on the linebacker, Earl Everett, and that's all Lumpkin needed. One block. Josh Brock's having a heck of a football game. Sat out most of last week with that shoulder. Playing well today.
Lumpkin's career high in a game is 55 yards. He's got 52 and gives way to Michael Cooper on first down. Loss of 3. Well, the SEC East standings coming in. Georgia at 4-1. Tennessee and Florida at 3-2. So Georgia wins today. They really control their own destiny. But if all of this winds up in a 3-way tie at the end of regular season play, drop all the way down to number 7 for the tiebreaker. A vote of the athletic directors whose institution is not involved in the tie. So throw out these 3. Throw out the Western Division champion or co-champions. That was the Machiavellian move we talked about at the beginning of the day. Here's Brown.
Nice. Good idea. You know, you're having trouble throwing it to him down the field, so throw a quick screen. Get the ball in his hands and get him involved in the game. Let him get his head in the game.
2:53. Here are the remaining schedules. Florida's got Vanderbilt, then at South Carolina, a bye, and at home against Florida State. Georgia off next week, then Auburn and Kentucky, and then at Georgia Tech and Tennessee. On the road to Miami. Home games, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, and Kentucky. 3rd and 5 here in a
up now for Fred Gibson. If he's not ready to play, then maybe they need to have somebody else in there. But, you know, in a game like this, when every play counts, you can't drop the football when it's thrown that well. And this is Fred Gibson's 3rd drop. Yeah, there was a hit at the end, but that should have been an easy first down conversion for Georgia. And again, another missed opportunity on 3rd down. Last year, the Bulldogs were 0 for 13 on 3rd down. in their 20-13 loss to the Gators.
So after Gibson's third drop of the game, Ely Kelso comes on to punt. They moved as far as the 41-yard line.
Good news for Georgia. Sean Jones is back on the field on that punt team, so he'll probably be back on the field with this first-team defense in the next possession.
Ratliff with a fair catch, and that gives us a chance to go back to New York and Tim Brando. Happiest guy in Oxford is Langston Rogers. Longtime sports information director there and one of the most decent men in the business. He's a wonderful guy. Good for him. Good for Eli. Good for David Cutcliffe. First down and 10. Up the middle. Boy, they haven't run well.
No.
But look at this one.
The first time they've given the ball to the fullback, and this was a checkoff at the line of scrimmage by Chris Leak. Now, a lot of times he gets the play, even an audible from the sideline from Ed Zonbrecker. That was a nice audible at the line to a run to the fullback. They've been trying to run the tailback. They haven't been in two backs very much. In fact, this may be one of the first possessions where they've had two backs in an offensive set.
And the audible now from Chris Leak. Toss. Deshaun Wynn left side. All of a sudden back-to-back plays, big games on the ground. Tomorrow on the NFL Today, join Jim and the gang as Marcus Allen lets us know if Marcus Tuiasosopo can revitalize the Raiders. Plus, Dion checks in with rejuvenated Edgerrin James. And Kansas City Chief Trent Green is live in the studio. Go to NFL.com for more or NFL on AOL. Second down and 3 as the sun leaves us behind Old Hill Stadium in Jacksonville.
It's a nice move by Ed Zonbrecker in the Florida offense, going with the fullback, Billy Latsko, as well as the tailback, Deshaun Wynn.
This is Odell Thurman, the middle linebacker for Georgia. Going to be helped off.
They'll have to come out for a play. Derek White will come in and take his place. And again, Sean Jones is back in the game for Georgia. A little adjustment to his equipment. He's got a neck type device or a neck roll on. But it's good to see him back in. There's Sean, a key part of this Georgia defense. The two safeties, Davis and Jones, outstanding football players.
Second and 3. 10-3 with 1:08 to go, third quarter. Toss, same play. Latsko leads Wynn. Gets into the secondary, bounce back. I think he's got enough for the first down. Out to the 37-yard line. And, you know, you mentioned third down conversions and turnovers.
Right.
Florida has really protected the ball well.
Yeah, they have. They've done a great job of that. They got the Ratliff interception, so they've got the edge in that category today. They haven't been very successful on first down, but they've made their play, or on third down, but they've made their plays other ways, and they've got the 7-point lead right now.
First and 10 as we near the end of the quarter, with Florida leading by 7. Play fake. Leak wants a bunch. Goes for Dallas Baker. Thornton is there. Baker's got it.
And another beautiful throw against good coverage by Chris Leak. Now the effort by Baker, catching the football at the top of his jump.
Well, he was a sensation in the spring, was Dallas Baker, and they have been waiting this year, all year, for him to break out. Here's Deshaun Wynn going right and stop at the 18-yard line.
And that was a page out of the Georgia playbook, because that was set up by their ability to run the football out of the I formation and then make it to the tail.
Undefeated this year, but completed game Florida is now suddenly playing.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing with great poise, and I think the biggest difference to this point, even though Georgia has the edge in running the football, both quarterbacks have only completed 10 passes, but Chris Leak has completed 4 of over 20 yards. David Green, none over 20 yards. So they've gotten some big plays out of their passing game to set up some scoring opportunities.
And the big one on this drive was 42 yards to Dallas Baker. Here's Leak, right side, tipped and then dropped. Perez, and a flag is thrown.
I think this is a late hit at the end of the play. It was an excellent play by Tony Taylor to deflect the pass, and then Odell Thurman is going to get hit with the late hit penalty on Carlos Perez. We just talked about how Florida has played with poise. A little bit of lack of poise on this play by Georgia.
On the defense, hitting a defensive player. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Now here's what not been caught instead.
And a first and goal from the 7 with a 7-point lead.
Okay, here's the check off again. Chris Leak looking to the side. After he gets the call upstairs, then he signals in the check, and Chris Leak communicates it to the rest of the team.
Well played, facing up the middle, 5 to the 3, and down at the 2. Thomas Davis made the tackle.
You know, I know they like rotating their backs, but in over the last, this is the best tailback. And I know they're split carries and runs a senior, runs a powerful guy, but this guy, I think, is the best one of the bunch.
From Jacksonville, had a storied high school career, twice in his high school, different seasons. Of 2000, here, nothing doing this time. Thomas Davis makes the thing. He got upset, Seatric Faison did, when he didn't get to play in his line of scrimmage against Kentucky. Complained about it.
Right.
Ron Zook said, okay, I don't like that attitude. Allowed him to play in the lost Ole Miss only on special teams. But then he came back at LSU and Arkansas and has been a big key in the last 2 wins.
It is amazing to me. I mean, how they continue to do it. Hard.
Okay. Number 22, a salute to DeCorey Bryant, fallen teammate, who was injured on a kick return last week against UAB. Walked off without assistance, and then it was discovered after the game that he had fractured vertebra. Had neck surgery on Sunday, and this one's going to go out of bounds. My, oh my. Well, Petrovich with a rare mistake for the SEC moment presented by Sonic. Let's go back to the famous 1980 game. Larry Munson with the call.
Third down on the 8. In trouble. Got a block behind him. Gonna throw on a run. Complete to the 25. To the 30. Lindsey Scott 35 40. Lindsey Scott 45 50. 45 40. Run Lindsey 25 20 50. 10 5. Lindsey Scott. Lindsey Scott. Lindsey Scott.
Johnson still making those calls. This is his 38th season as the anchor of the Georgia broadcast.
And he needs to make one of those now. That's the big problem for Georgia. No big plays from their passing game.
Here's Green, right side. And this is Brian McClendon, number 16, made the catch.
And this is really the time for David Green to step up and take control of his football team and put his team in a position to win. They have not looked as effective offensively as I've thought. Now, they've run the football well, but they have nothing to show for their passing game. Only 87 yards on 11 completions. They've got to get some bigger chunks of yardage out of their passing game.
On second down, here's a play fake again. Green forced to his right, throws it, just shovels it out of bounds. David Green has led 5 fourth-quarter comebacks in his career. Perhaps most famous was the Tennessee win. Well, not the most famous. How about last year against Auburn?
That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was. And word from Jill Arrington on the sideline that Fred Gibson is getting some attention from the trainers. We do not expect to see him again. His psyche may be wounded as much as anything else with 3 drops in this ball game.
What happens to guys, particularly really skilled athletes, more so than linemen, is, you know, they're in tune with their bodies, and when something doesn't feel right, and for Fred Gibson it could be his hamstring, it could be his knee, it could be something else today. But when you start thinking about that more than catching the football and doing your job, it's just hard to focus. And that, you could just see that's what Fred's problem was today. So he's out, and now it's up to Reggie Brown and McClendon and Ben Watson, the tight end, who hasn't caught anything yet today either, to make something happen.
Here's Green, right side. McClendon with another catch, fumbles it, but he does so out of bounds. That'll stop the clock at the 46. Then for more on Fred Gibson, let's check in once again with Jill.
Well, Fred has his helmet back on. He might get back on the field. They were testing out his motor skills. He ran around a little bit on the sidelines to get his head back in the game. I think he took a big hit, but I'm sure some of those drop passes are in his head as well, guys.
All right, Jill, thank you.
I think Ben Watson is somebody that David Green needs to look for, the tight end, number 89. He's not touched the ball yet today either. Here he is right here, number 89 in the middle of the defense.
Slip the ball to the fullback and pick up 2 yards. That'll be, and the flag is down. We might.
Another face mask.
Could be.
Jeremy Thomas, the ball carrier, gain of 2. Penalty marker down.
Incidental face mask on the defense. 5-yard penalty. It'll result in a first down.
Looks like it's on Reed Fleming, the middle linebacker, who is one of those who had folks pulling for both teams over a couple of years. His brother Ryan was a linebacker on the Georgia team. Graduated 2001. First down, Green. Got a man open, Michael Johnson. First 15-yard line.
First big play from their passing game, and it couldn't have come at a better time. Now this is maximum protection in a 2-man route. They fake to the tailback, they keep everybody in the block, and they go one-on-one with the receiver, Michael Johnson. And they finally got a big chunk of yardage out of a pass play.
Michael Johnson, the 5th-year senior who caught the 4th down pass a year ago, led to the victory over Auburn and the first SEC championship in 20 years for the Bulldogs. On first down, handoff. Cooper coming left. Gets by Farrier and is out of bounds at the 4-yard line.
And Florida looked a little tired on that play, their defense. Couple linebackers, some bad angles to the football, not getting off blocks by Fleming or Ferrier, and Michael Cooper able to get to the corner. There's Ferrier, just a little bit out of gas there at the end of the play.
Well, of course, at Miami, this Florida team outscored by 14. They lost 38-33. Same thing happened against Arkansas. Here's the handoff inside to Jeremy Thomas, number 41, and he gets one.
You know, each of those games, though, was different. When they played Miami, they had a big lead, and as Miami forged their comeback, Florida ran out of gas. They just got tired and couldn't keep up with Miami. In the Arkansas game, they got a big lead and they got complacent. They thought they had the game well in hand, and they kind of had a letdown and couldn't get it back emotionally.
And Nick Jones just ran a play in from the bench. The freshman. Up and over the top. It's Cooper, and here, boy, no kidding.
You don't want to be sticking that ball out if you're not going to get over the goal line. And right now, you know what? Part of the situation as we watch Michael Cooper try to get the football over the plane. What a play. Who was that? Ferrier that dove in there? Reed Fleming. Excellent effort by the middle linebacker, Reed Fleming, to meet Michael Cooper on top of the pile.
3rd and goal. Lumpkin is the tailback. Thomas is the fullback on 3rd down. Left side. Driving.
Wow.
Touchdown, Georgia.
What an effort by the freshman Lumpkin. Key blocks by the backup tight end Robert Brandon. The tackle Daniel Inman, and then excellent left leg strength by the freshman Greg Lumpkin. Watch him drive right through the tackle of Travis Harris into the end zone.
Max Gene Gillis, the right tackle, is the injured player down for Georgia.
And he is their best offensive lineman.
Son of immigrants from Haiti, I beg your pardon, Haitian immigrants. Moved here into the Miami area some years ago. Sophomore out of Miami, Max Gene Gillis.
Played a lot last year as a freshman. Young man out of Miami, Florida. It's a replay of the touchdown. Nice block by Jeremy Thomas, the fullback, but just the drive and the leg strength of Lumpkin. Got a little help from Brannon and Inman.
Gene Gillis attempting to walk off without assistance.
Yeah, that's good to see.
You bet.
They don't need him for this extra point attempt, but they definitely need him if they get the ball back on offense.
Craig Lumpkin, with the extra effort, gets the touchdown. A highly touted freshman from Lithonia, Georgia. And Gene Gillis will leave the field.
Where is Billy Bennett? Oh, he's still over kicking the net. Here he comes. I was going to say, I see 10 guys out there. I see a holder. I see no kicker. He's getting a couple extra little whacks in there.
Warming up his band.
Back in the 2000 loss to Florida, Billy Bennett missed an extra point.
He's only missed 2 in his career. He's made 110 in succession, making 111 in a row. And he is the leader among players players currently active in the NCAA. Lumpkin gets the touchdown. We've got a 3-point game once again.
Florida, Georgia, 93. Eric Rett set a school record with 41 carries. He had 183 yards and 2 touchdowns as Florida wins it. In 97, Robert Edwards ran for 4 touchdowns as the Bulldogs win it 37-17, their last victory in the series. And in 2002, Gators ruined Georgia's perfect season with a 20-13 win. Gus Scott had a 47-yard interception return for a touchdown.
All right, Jill, thank you. 13-10 in this one. As Florida attempts to maintain its domination over this Georgia team, they have won 12 of the last 13 games. The only Georgia win in that string, 1997. Mike Bobo was the quarterback for Georgia. He's now the quarterback's coach. Billy Bennett will kick off.
A little new bounce in the Georgia step right now. Florida cannot afford to be complacent on this offensive possession.
Taken by Caldwell, and he returns it to the 20. He does spin outside. He's got a chance for a big return. Out of bounds at the 40-yard line.
Nice play. Boy, one guy that you don't expect to see miss the tackle for Georgia is their leading tackler, Thomas Davis, but that's exactly what happens on this return. Number 10 misses a tackle right there, and that enables Caldwell to get outside and give Florida excellent starting field position.
Caldwell, the freshman, his brother Rayshea Caldwell was a fine wide receiver for this Gator team. Deshaun Wynn is the running back now on 1st and 10. Kelvin Kite, O.J. Small, Carlos Paris. They load up to the right side. Hand off to Wynn. He goes left, picks up 2 yards. Clock showing 9 minutes exactly. Sunday on CBS, the greatest moments in sports stand side by side with the greatest moments in television. Join the stars of CBS Sports along with the greatest stars in TV history as they gather to celebrate CBS at 75 live Sunday after 60 minutes. They throw the screen, fake the screen, then throw it away.
Well defensed. When I talked to Brian Van Gorder, I said, what is the key? There is a flag down on the field. What is the key to defending the Florida screens? He said, number one thing is recognition. We've got to recognize when it's coming. Illegal man downfield for Florida. They got burnt by one screen for a touchdown earlier in the game. But just about every other screen Florida has attempted, Georgia has been right there to stop it.
Ineligible receiver downfield against the offense. Penalty is declined.
This is how much confidence Brian Van Gorder has in his 3rd down defense. Florida 1 for 7 in the first half on 3rd down. 0 for 2 in the second half.
So they decline the penalty.
Showing pressure. And Chris Leak's going to check off. Now, Georgia will probably come out of this pressure. Nope.
They're coming. Leak, man coverage down the sideline. Thornton is down there. The pass incomplete.
Excellent coverage by Thornton. And a good choice by Brian Van Gorder. Instead of taking the penalty and making it a 2nd down and long, let's play 3rd down and 8. That's the strength of our defense. We'll rush 5, and we'll count on our corners to play good coverage. And Bruce Thornton, using the sideline as an aid, excellent coverage on the wide receiver Perez.
And on fourth down, Eric Wilbur, the freshman, on to punt. This is his 5th of the ball game. Longest has been 63. This one nice and deep.
Boy,
and Gary.
No,
oh
why
my
is he
gosh.
catching it?
Why did he try that?
I guess because he knew he was going to do this, maybe.
Nah.
Still didn't get to the 20.
Bobbled the punt when he took it at the 3-yard line.
And you always, I mean, the rule of thumb, you tell your returners, put your heels on the 10-yard line, and if it's going over your head, you let it go. Even a great returner like Gary should know better than to field one inside his own 5.
Now to take a look at the Fidelity Investment scoring recap. First field goal of the game came from Matt Leach, 24 yards out. That was matched a bit later, just before the half, by Billy Bennett. We were 3-3 at the half. Screen pass, Carlos Perez got a couple of fine blocks. Scooted in from 34 yards out to make it 10-3. Leach with another field goal, but a fine defensive stand inside the 5-yard line. Held them to a field goal, and then Greg Lumpkin just scored to make it 13-10 with 8:16 to go.
You know, the best thing about that scoring drive that Georgia had was that they only used 2 minutes and 52 seconds off the clock.
Let's check the CBS Sportsline stat of the game. Rushing yards, Georgia 141 since the first quarter. Florida only 39. Get all your complete college football stats at CBSSportsline.com. Green with a play fake across the middle. Reggie Brown. A quick first down strike of 16 yards.
The point I was making, their scoring drive used 2 minutes and 52 seconds. Then they got a good stop from their defense, so they've got lots of clock. They can use play action. They can still run the football because they've run for 166 yards against this Florida defense in the ball game. So they can do anything they want with 8 minutes left in the ball game.
A play fake again. Green this time goes right side, and Brown makes the catch on his knees. Now let's go back to New York for a Pontiac high performance update. Here's Tim. All right, Tim. Here's Cooper with the handoff. It's jammed up, and he loses a yard. Matt Ferrier got him away for Florida, number 43. Well, it's Bedlam weekend. NCAA football. Oklahoma leading Oklahoma State 38-9. Out west, USC Washington State a late start. Michigan knocks off Michigan State. Miami, Virginia Tech tonight, and the Longhorns rolled over Nebraska 31-7.
Georgia 3 for 5 on third downs in the second half after going 2 for 7 in the first half. So a critical third down and 4 right now for David Green.
Play fake. Green.
Same play.
Got it. Brown, first down. It's Johnson. 25 instead of 1. Michael Johnson.
This is a one-man route. Okay, they want to make sure they protect David Green. So they're going to fake to the tailback, and it's a one-man route on the post route. Everybody else stays in the block, and they're going to take their chances with their big receiver, Michael Johnson. And see, because he's 230 pounds, when he gets hit by the safety after this play, he's not giving up the football. He is a big physical receiver who hangs on to the tough catch.
6:32 to go.
And how about David Green in this fourth quarter?
Gus Scott being given some attention on the near sideline. And time called.
Well, Gus Scott was the guy who made the hit on Michael Johnson, and he took the worst of it. Georgia on the move again with 6:32 left. Michael Johnson's a little rude.
Back to play. They did not take a commercial break. First down and 10. And here's the room to run for Cooper. He bounces off Keywan Ratliff, gets out of bounds. And Corey Bailey was there to help.
Yeah. Well, again, and Ron Zook knows that they have not stopped Georgia running the football the whole day. Jeremy Thomas, who there were some questions about with his concussion, whether he could play the whole game. He's been in the whole game. He's doing a great job leading for the two tailbacks. And see, when you can run in the fourth quarter, you just take steam out of the defense. That fatigues the defense more than defending the pass.
Michael Cooper with 81 yards on 18 carries. It's 2nd and 1. Brown, top of the screen. Lumpkin is the deep back in the eye. They give it to Lumpkin, big hole to the 22. And Jeremy Thomas, the fullback,
See,
led the way through.
and they're wearing them down. Look at the Florida defense. Guys are on one knee. They got their hands on their hips. And Georgia is pounding them. Here it is again. Jeremy Thomas leading in on Reed Fleming. Boom, right there, the fullback. Leading on the middle linebacker. That's power, hard-nosed football. Max Gene Gillis, who we saw hobble off on their touchdown drive, back in the game, clearing the way from his tackle position. Go ahead. The only thing, Georgia can't turn it over here. That's the biggest thing that could hurt them right here.
There's Thomas with a first down carry. Channing Crowder makes the tackle. Clock shows 5:45 and running.
Coming into the game, Florida leading the SEC in takeaways, 23. They have one today. As you look at what's happened to them in a couple fourth quarter games this year. Now they're right in this one. There's no big lead in this one. They've got a 3-point lead, but they are definitely tired because of this Georgia running game.
2nd down. On the eye, here's Lumpkin breaking through. 1st and goal. Bulldogs.
One of the things Georgia able to do, even though Tyson Browning out of the game, they're alternating Craig Lumpkin and Michael Cooper. So these backs are fresh in the fourth quarter, and this Gator defense is getting tired. They just keep rotating Lumpkin and Cooper, and as long as these two guys hold on to the football, I don't think Florida can stop them running the football.
Georgia has rushed now for 198 yards. They've split it evenly, half and half, haven't they?
Florida's best defender in the backfield, Darrell Dixon, coming out of the game. He's a real team leader, the team leader in tackles, and he is out in this critical juncture of the football game right now.
1st and goal. It's Lumpkin, the deep back, gets the handoff to the 5, and down at the 4-yard line, Reed Fleming, number 40, made the tackle.
That was a touchdown-saving tackle by Fleming because Lumpkin was off to the end zone. And right now, it just feels like this Florida defense is just barely hanging on. Watch Reed Fleming knife in here, number 40, and just take the legs out of Craig Lumpkin. Nice play by the middle linebacker. If Georgia went play action here, I think they'd have somebody wide open. I don't know that Mark Richt will take that chance, though, as well as they're running the football.
Double tight end set. The handoff goes to Lumpkin, and he is stuffed at the line of scrimmage. It'll be third down.
Well, that was a big play by Florida right there, because second down and goal, and they get nothing on that play. Reed Fleming again steps up into the hole from his middle linebacker position. David Green wants to call timeout. Most important play of the ball game right now for Georgia.
Time called with 4:03 remaining. Third and goal. Georgia trailing by 3.
I think right here, if you're Florida's defense, you got to pay attention to the tight end Ben Watson and the fullback Jeremy Thomas. Some kind of play action, and for David Green, if it's not there, throw it away and let's tie the game with a field goal.
Play fake. Green into the flat for Thomas.
What a play by Thomas. But what a play by Jeremy Thomas. When he bounced the ball up in the air, he let it, he went and knocked the ball down so it wouldn't get intercepted. Because when he didn't catch this football and it went straight up in the air, this was a pick all the way. But watch Jeremy Thomas go after the football and not let it get intercepted. I'm sure he's disappointed he didn't make the catch. But a nice play anyway.
Travis Harris was defending. Now Bennett for the tie. Billy Bennett heads over to the sideline.
Well, we got a time on the field. We got a little officials meeting, and Billy Bennett went back to the kicking net.
It's 52 seconds. 3:52.
That's a remarkable composure for Bennett, I think.
Yeah.
Heads over to the sideline. Another couple of kicks.
Well, it's just like, you know, getting ready to sink a big putt. You know, you don't want to ruin your routine or your rhythm. You want to stay in a rhythm, and that's his rhythm. You don't want to stand out there and wait for the officials to get done with their powwow.
Lee Jackson holds it. Brian Jordan will snap it. Billy Bennett will kick it for the tie. We're tied at 13. With 3 minutes and 49 seconds to go. There are reasons why they call this a classic. 3 minutes and 49 seconds to go in this one. Georgia has fought back with 10 unanswered to tie it at 13 all. A battle for supremacy in the SEC East, but more significantly for the Georgia Bulldogs trying to end the domination that has included 12 losses in 13 years to this Florida Gator team. And for the Gators, they still retain hope of completing an unbelievable sweep after losing at home to Ole Miss. They went on the road and knocked off LSU. They went on the road and knocked off Arkansas. They have come to Jacksonville and led through much of the second half. It's now tied at 13 all. Here's Bennett with the kick. And Caldwell will take it at the 5-yard line. Back to the center. No missed tackle this time. Jarvis Jackson, number 45, makes the stop. And let's take a look at the play of the game presented by Wrangler 5-star premium denim. Mike Hubert has the call.
Gators have trips wide to the right. They set the screen up out to the right to Paris. At the 30-yard line, down the sideline, the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5. Touchdown! On a beautiful play for the Gators. Out there wide to the right, 34 yards. Carlos
was a 13-3 lead, but it's tied at 13 all now. Here's Faison going left on the toss. Hit at the line and driven down.
Well, Chris Leak with that touchdown pass we just saw. Now, Leak started out completing 7 of his first 12, but he's only completed 3 of his last 7 pass attempts. And in order for Florida to win, they are going to have to hit some passes here. They are not going to be able to run the football right down the throats of this Georgia defense. Chris Leak is going to have to make a couple of plays.
Theatric Faison comes out, favoring his left shoulder. 2nd down and 9. 13 all with 3 minutes and 3 seconds to go. Florida has yet to turn the ball over in this game. Here's a 4-man rush. Leak pumps once, lets it go, caught. And a tackle is slipped. That's Carlos Perez, number 23. 1st down, Gators.
Nice job by Chris Leak finding the open man. And then a bad job of tackling by Bruce Thornton. He's in good position. Perez is going to make the catch, but it's short of the 1st down. If Thornton makes the tackle right there, it's 3rd and 4. But he misses the tackle. And a new set of downs for the Gators.
2:49 to go in the ball game. Leak fires it, walks it, Ben True. Beautiful.
You know, coming into today's game, Ben True had 20 more yards receiving on 5 fewer receptions than Miami's Kellen Winslow. And everybody talks about Winslow being the best tight end in college football. But Ben True, a couple of big catches again here today for the Gators.
That's a gain of 20. Troop has caught 2 for 57.
Well, I like that Ed Zonbrecker has been aggressive calling plays on this possession for Chris Leak. Don't try to run the clock out and be conservative. Keep attacking.
Let's go. The fullback gets the handoff, and he manages to get to the 45. Well, the old ball coach, Steve Spurrier, now with the Washington Redskins. And Jill Arrington, I know you had a chance to chat with him this week.
Well, I sure did, Vernon. The old ball coach said he did give Jeremy Foley a call this week to tell Coach Zook, good luck, you go get him. As you guys know, this was a very passionate rivalry for Coach Spurrier. He was in it as a player and a coach. I asked him about what he thought about Chris Leak. He said he's a remarkable young man. He's shown great poise. He says he's had some practice throwing the ball around a little bit up in high school in North Carolina. He says, I don't think we've seen the best of him yet.
All right, Jill. 2nd down and 8. Here's Leak. Right side. Diving try. It is caught. Yes. Kelvin Kite.
Yep. Nice throw low and outside. What concentration on the sideline by Kelvin Kite. Again in front of Bruce Thornton. A low throw, but wow, that was close. Looked like his foot was right by the line, if not on the line.
There's Matt Leach. Career long of 50 yards. We saw that at LSU. 1st down and 10.
And we've seen David Green step up for the Georgia offense. Now it's time for David Pollock to step up for the Georgia defense if the Bulldogs hope to pull away a victory in this ball game.
Here comes the safety blitz. The toss right side. Deshaun Wynn moves inside the 30.
Nice run. He showed patience on that run. He wasn't in a hurry when he got to the sideline. He let the blocks get set up. Watch Deshaun Wynn be patient, and then when he sees the crease, then he accelerates. Nice block downfield by Kelvin Kite, who just made the good catch. Now he's blocking for his tailback.
And Deshaun Wynn Wynn gives way to Rand Carthen. Wynn with 43 yards on 11 carries. Again, Chris Leak looks over at Ed Zornbrecher. Moves up, calls the play.
1:38 left in the ball game. Florida in excellent position right now.
Hand off to Carthen, going left, cutting back to the 15-yard line. They position the ball in the middle of the field.
When Georgia was driving the football a moment ago, it was the Florida defense that looked tired and not able to stop the run. Now the roles are reversed. Georgia's defense looks tired, unable to stop Florida's run. Florida rotating tailbacks. Rand Carthen and Deshaun Wynn.
Chris Leak threw 3 interceptions in the fourth quarter in that loss at home to Ole Miss. Only 1 in the last 87 attempts since that time. Second down and 3. Keep it in the middle. Win. Drops at the 15. Timeout. Well, as we contemplate an attempted game-winning field goal by Matt Leach, the Gators have had 1 field goal blocked this year. Georgia has blocked 2 field goals this year.
It's the same guy. Sean Jones is the guy that has blocked both field goals for the Georgia Bulldogs.
Time call by the Dogs. We'll be right back. 13 all, 44 seconds to go in this border war between Georgia and Florida. The ball on the 15, Matt Leach. Hoping that he gets the opportunity to win this. Just a moment ago, Ron Zook, who is the special teams coach under Steve Spurrier here. Just an air of confidence as he walks off, having given a little compliment to Matt Leach.
And how about Chris Leach? I mean, you know, Jill said what Steve Spurrier said about him. A remarkable young man. We haven't seen the best of him yet. I agree. But in the drive that mattered, 3 for 3 for 44 yards throwing the football in this drive.
Keep it on the ground.
Hold on to the football, Deshaun Wynn.
Deshaun Wynn knocked down back at the 23-yard line.
And another timeout by Georgia.
Brian Van Gorder reacting on the Georgia sideline. And that the last Georgia timeout.
Oh, there's a penalty. Penalty on Florida. I'm not so sure this isn't
illegal formation
for Georgia
on the offense. Penalty is declined. It'll be 4th down.
Yeah, I mean, decline the penalty, so it's okay.
Georgia, that's their final timeout.
So time called, 4th down, the field goal forthcoming. It's 4th and 4. Matt Leach will attempt to win it. NFL tomorrow on CBS. Most of you will see Indianapolis at Miami in game 1. Oakland and Detroit, Chicago and Baltimore also at home, and late games at Seattle and Arizona. It all begins with the NFL today, tomorrow. 13-13 ball game. 4th and 4. And Matt Leach, well, it was against LSU in the first of these 3 games that Arkansas has won. Ron Zook trying to call timeout. Matt Leach didn't see him, so he towed this one up from 50 yards, a career long. Nailed it. As the Gators won that game, then a week later went to Arkansas, knocked off the Razorbacks, had a bye week. By the way, this is the 10th consecutive year they've had a bye week before they play Georgia. They are 9-1 with a week to get ready. And now 4th and 4. They're trying to come back and reclaim the lead.
Sean Jones is the guy for Georgia to keep an eye on. He's blocked 2 field goals. He's the leaper. And the key is to get penetration from the guys in front of him so that he can leap close to the line of scrimmage or even further.
Casey Griffith is the snapper. Sean Morton, the holder. Leach has kicked it, and it just does cut inside the left upright.
That thing looked like it was going to hook left, and it straightened right back out. Watch this kick. It is taken off left, and it looks like it's going to hook left and then straightens right back up. What kind of pitch is that? A screwball?
Screwball.
That was a screwball.
First time I've ever thought of Matt Leach and Roger Clemens in the same paragraph. Leach knocks it home. Ron Zook said to us this week he wanted his kids to feel like they did after they lost to Ole Miss. He wanted them to have a sense of urgency about this game.
And they've had it. I mean, I think both teams have. And it was going to go all the way to 60 minutes. And Florida has played with that same sense of desperation and that sense of urgency that they've had for the last 3 weeks now. I'll tell you what, if this holds out and Florida wins this game, those people in Gainesville better just leave Ron Zook alone. And whoever the coward that won't even say his name, who has the FireRonZook.com, he needs to just go away somewhere. Disappear.
This one will come out to the 20. Well, Machiavellian possibilities are 33 seconds.
Means, but it sounds bad.
Sounds like there could be some intrigue.
Yeah.
If Georgia loses this game, there'll be a 3-way tie at the top. If at the end of the regular season there's a 3-way tie at the top, you drop all the way down to number 7. A vote of the athletic directors whose institution is not involved in the tie will determine the SEC East representative in the Southeastern Conference Championship game. As my friend Keith Jackson would say, whoa, Nelly. Fumble.
Now they're calling it an incomplete pass, but David Green held on to the ball too long there. We've seen that happen a couple times today. Darrell Lee is the guy who comes from the backside, and David Green waiting for something to open up, and he just held it too long. Very lucky that this wasn't ruled a fumble.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that wasn't a fumble.
His arm did come forward, but I don't think he knows what hit him from behind.
2nd and 10. 3-man rush. Florida dumps 8. Green, right side, incomplete.
Florida playing a very safe defense right now. I mean, you can afford to play prevent defense when you have them back inside their own 20-yard line. So they're going to rush 3, and they're going to drop everybody and try to keep all the Georgia receivers in front of them. Georgia with no timeouts can't stop the clock.
3rd and 10. Across the middle, that's caught up at the 34-yard line. The clock will stop. 11 seconds to go. Now 10.
They're going to kill the clock now by spiking the football. Yeah, the clock shouldn't have started yet.
It should have stopped on the first down play, and it did not stop.
What this stadium used to be called?
Gator Bowl.
Okay, right.
That same old guy's been working the clock for a few years. He's the old coot I was talking about who was here dressed in gray and brown. 8 seconds to go. Sean Jones.
Well, this has been a remarkable run for Georgia over the last year and a half under Mark Richt, and what they've been able to do as they continue to lose prominent players, remarkable. But this resurgence with the Florida Gators is equally remarkable to me.
2nd down and 10. Green finds Brown. Nope, it's incomplete. Well, you think 1 second to go, Todd. Ron Zook refers to the noise in the system after the loss at home to Ole Miss. They went on the road, and at the time they had to go on the road for these 3 games, all 3 of their opponents were ranked in the top 10. LSU, Arkansas, Georgia. They're on the verge of going 3-0.
Florida defenders are all the way back at the 10-yard line on this defense.
Screen pass. Hope for the best with Michael Cooper. Game is over.
A huge win for you. Can you put it into words what it means to you and your football program?
I'm just proud of our players. They fought and they stayed in there and they hung in there and taken a lot of criticism. But I'm going to tell you something. We beat a good football team, a really, really good football team. It's a great effort. It was a great game. It always is. This is always a great game. But I'm so proud of our football team and what they've done.
Thank you, Coach. Congratulations.
All right, Jill. It certainly makes the last month of the season intriguing for those of us who are blessed with the privilege of televising Southeast Conference football. What a finish we're going to have. The final this afternoon, the Florida Gators 16, the Georgia Bulldogs 13. For Jill Arrington, Todd Blackledge, our entire crew, so glad to have you with us. See you next week from Auburn.